What's going on, developers and creators out there? My name is Erickson. In this video we're going to be talking about reasons you should consider creating your own custom IP for your FPGA design. If time allows, we're also going to be talking about reasons why you should avoid creating your own custom IP when possible. And before I even go any further, I want to point out that these are reasons that I believe based on my experience, but there might be other reasons out there. And reasons number one you should consider creating your own custom IP is if it's the most optimal solution to your problem. What do I mean by that? Sometimes we get stuck in the weeds and not look at the problem domain from a higher perspective, from 30 feet off the ground, and not evaluate all the possible solution to the problem, and we go straight into creating a custom IP. And that sometimes is not the most optimal solution, and avoiding that when possible is recommended. So let's look at this design that I have right in front of me. In this design, I created this design a while ago. It was the purpose of creating the design was to evaluate an FIR filter, the frequency response of an FIR filter. Basically, you have a DDS signal generator that puts out a signal at a certain frequency, and that signal goes through an FIR filter, which then gets stored in a FIFO, and that data eventually is streamed to the CPU where it's post-processed. And one of the requirements in that design was to change the output frequency of the DDS or the signal generator from the CPU dynamically. So one of the solutions to that problem, to that requirement, was to create a custom IP. When I was designing this, I looked at different options, and that was the most optimal solution. That might not be the case today. Let's now go to reason number two. I believe that reason number two is you should consider creating your custom IP when you want a portable code. For example, if you're designing in Xilinx Vivado or Xilinx software development tool, and for some reason later on you want to run the same code in some other tool, let's say Intel, Microsemi, or some other synthesis tool in the market. Given that's the case, you want to create your own portable HDL code. For example, in this design, there's an FIR filter, which is an IP from Xilinx IP catalog, and this filter cannot be processed or run on some other some other synthesis tool, or you cannot run this FIR filter on Intel tool or Microsemi synthesis tool. It can only run on Xilinx FPGA, Xilinx software development tool. So that's the reason why you want to create your own custom HDL that is not encrypted, so you can easily port it to other software. So that's the reason number two. Now let's get to reason why you should avoid creating custom IP for your design. And I believe that you should avoid creating a custom IP for design when you're just writing code for the sake of writing code. This will go for the beginners. Guilty here myself. We just want to write code. We just think that writing code is a solution. Sometimes it's not. And we should really look at the problem and really evaluate if, okay, is writing the code the problem, the solution to the problem here? Because really writing the code really will introduce more problem to the problem domain. And if it can be avoided, it should. But most of the time it's not, and we're required to put in some effort in developing some code. And we want to avoid creating more problem while solving the problem. Because if I can avoid writing code, I'm taking that path because it's the easiest solution. I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to write code because it requires a significant amount of development time. It needs to be tested. It needs to be maintained. And if I can get rid of all that, I am going to, because it's the most optimal solution. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. And I have this design at soul2.com. If you're in the mood to explore and play with this design, you can come to this website and get the design files. I'll put the link in the description below so you can quickly get here. And I'm planning on putting a series of videos on improving this design as well. This is the reason why I'm putting this video out first, talking about reasons why you should or should not create your own custom IP based on my beliefs. So, and I'll be looking at the DDS frequency controller. Like I said, this is a custom IP. At the time, it was the optimal solution, but sometimes at the time, optimal solution might not be the optimal solution after you gain more knowledge. When we think that we have the most optimal solution, we might lack information, we might lack tool resources to actually see other possibilities that can solve the problem domain. So I will evaluate all the possible solution, see if I can improve this design now that I have gained much more experience and knowledge. All right, so thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.